This week on Word from Jerusalem.
We are here in Haifa at the International Christian Embassy's home for Holocaust survivors. And let me tell you, this house here in Haifa is one of the most exciting projects which the Christian Embassy has undertaken over the past couple of years. This house here in Haifa not only hosts more than 70 Holocaust survivors, but in this building and all in those buildings along this road, more than 70 people are being hosted, and they are finding a new home for them in these last years of their age, going through all the sufferings of the Holocaust. And let me tell you, this house here in Haifa is nothing short than a miracle story which is taking place before our eyes here today.
I had a bad traffic accident in 1993 and reached a state where I wasn't even able to get up from bed and sit on a chair. I was confined to bed and in a really bad state. And then one night, when we were in the hospital, I was speaking with God, and I told him that if he restored me back on my feet, I would promise to dedicate every day of my life to helping others. And that is just what happened. After a few attempts to get up, falling down, having the nurses pick me back up, I did stand on my feet and managed to walk with no help. It was there I dedicated my whole life to the service of others. I received a big sum of money from the insurance and opened a soup kitchen for the needy. One day I noticed that there were Holocaust survivors among the people coming to the soup kitchen. And I remember saying that if there are Holocaust survivors who went through all these horrors and suffering, and they're coming to our kitchen for food, we can't allow them to be pushed around in line with the other people. So we established the Home for Holocaust Survivors. When we opened the home, it was still something very small, and the pressure to accommodate everyone was enormous. And we had so many Holocaust survivors from around the country, people 90 years old, 100 years old, wanting to move to our home. But I didn't have the money to take care of everyone, or even enough space. So I sent a letter to the Christian Embassy, and I thought to myself, I should try. It took a few months, but they answered. Judith and Dr. Jürgen came to see me, and we had a meeting.
Thanks God we had the funds to support him in that, but as we were looking at that building, I asked Shimon, I said, Shimon, what about if we purchase the entire building to host even more Holocaust survivors? And in January 2011, when we were sending out the first newsletters asking people to help us to purchase that building, a horrible earthquake was taking place. You might well remember that. And thousands of people got killed. Many have been left without house. And of course, I thought everybody wants to help those people in this time of need, and I didn't have much faith that people would support us. Now, when after 5 days I was checking for the first day our bank account, I was surprised to see that within 5 working days, all the money came in, not only to purchase that lower apartment, but to purchase the entire building. But not only that, we could renovate the entire building. We could, within a couple of weeks further down this road, purchase a second building. And until today, this whole Center for Holocaust Survivors grew to a community of 9 different apartments here in this street. And today, the city of Haifa even made a decision just a few months ago to rename the street of that street as the International Christian Embassy Jerusalem.
The relationship between Christians and the Jews became really well known and respected in Haifa. People really like it that Christians were coming here and responding to the need and doing something for a humane purpose. People still believe that Christians are partially at fault for what the Jewish people suffered in the Holocaust. People come from all over the world to reach out and help.
я довольна, конечно.
I'm happy living here, I must say. We have a dining room in the same building. We go there for breakfast, lunch, dinner. We are well fed. The freedom that we have here gives us joy. So I do not get bored here, thank God. I'm grateful for this life and for being able to live here in Israel.
We are here in the community center of our Haifa home, and as you see, this is not just a community center, but here in this hall which you see here, they are taking their regular meals, lunch and dinner, and not only that, but during the day they also come together and meet with other Holocaust survivors from the city of Haifa. This room which you see here actually has become a first community center for Holocaust survivors here in the city of Haifa, which is not only serving the people which are living here in this house, but people from all over the city, from the whole community around that neighborhood. They are coming in, they are talking to each other, they listen to lectures, they have concerts here in this house, and it has become a place where people can enjoy life and where they can enjoy the goodness of life here again in this house in Haifa.
We go outside to eat in the restaurants. We go to the sea. We go to the theater. Yes, lectures from the outside. And the food is still good. It is all excellent. Here I have friends, and I'm feeling here good. I am happy here. No?
During the 65 years of the existence of the State of Israel, this is the best thing that Christians and Jews have done together. It's not the governments, it is people doing beautiful things voluntarily. You see soldiers and school kids from all over the country coming here. It's beautiful. It's all about this mutual giving and serving. Christians and Jews together. The media loves this. They appreciate the social solidarity that the Christians express towards the Jewish people, and of course towards Holocaust survivors, who right now are in the last decades of their lives. So we need to appreciate them now.
אז יש הערכה אדירה עבורם.
I'm very happy when I see people who come. Christians from around the world who come to visit us. They are interested in how we live and they help us. I'm very happy when I see them. It reminds me of my youth. It does something good to my soul. It makes me very happy and I appreciate those who come. They truly deserve a thank you from the Jewish people to know that there are still good people in the world.
מגיע להם באמת תודה מיהודים שיש עוד אנשים טובים בעולם.
Our goal is to have 150 survivors residing here, maybe even 200 Holocaust survivers. In this very moment, there are more than 1,000 survivors who have registered and wish to live here from Tel Aviv, Beersheba and Jerusalem. In order to help them live in better conditions, we need more beds, we need to make this place bigger. I hope that the assistance of the Christian Embassy will be able to give everything we can to these people.
Welcome to this special segment of Word from Jerusalem. I'm David Parsons, Media Director for the International Christian Embassy. And we have with us as our special guest, Judith Setz.
Hi, David.
Judith, in recent years, you've been spearheading our outreach to Holocaust survivors. You did a lot of other social projects over the years, but now concentrating more on this. Why did you drop some of these other things, and what is the urgency about these survivors?
You know, David, in about 2008, there were a lot of demonstrations here in the land, and you saw on TV and in the newspaper, people demonstrating, but also Holocaust survivors. And the reason for the demonstrations were that there are quite a few Holocaust survivors living under the poverty line, and that was the reason why there was an outcry, actually. And somehow I felt in my spirit, it's time that we do something. It's not that we didn't do anything for Holocaust survivors. We did, but I felt it's time for the embassy to get more involved in these people's lives, because as we all know, these are the last years, and then this last generation is gone. So I felt a real urgency to put more emphasis on it as an embassy. Because they are all between 74, 5 till 90 plus. And about a third is living under the poverty line, because these people somehow can't make ends meet, and they're often alone. I think loneliness is also a huge problem, and that's why we felt there is such a need to do especially something for those people who are needy and who are lonely.
If they're in that age range, it basically means they were children or teenagers during the Holocaust, growing up in Nazi-occupied Europe, and they were basically starving and malnourished. Aren't there health problems that stem back to that time? They're now still sort of suffering from Nazi cruelty?
David, some people think, when you were even a baby or a child, okay, what do you even remember of that time? But I can tell you, these people, what you said, malnourishment, and which caused a lot of health problems in their lives, but also, some of them were 5 years, 6 years. I know a man, he was like 9 years, and his whole family was shot almost in front of him. He was 3 years as a 9-year-old boy. He was just, fleeing through the forest, 9 years old. So you can imagine what an impact that has had on these people's lives. And especially now when they're old. These people, they remember maybe not anymore exactly what they did yesterday, or even what they ate in the morning. But you know what?
The trauma of those memories are still very vivid.
It becomes your childhood, it becomes so vivid, and you live it every day and every night. And that's where many of these people go through.
I remember one of these survivors that I met told me he never tasted a glass of fresh milk until he was like 9 years old. That's very remarkable to me.
David, the stories are horrific, and I always say we can never really understand the depth of what these people went through. But I feel very much that also for us as Christians who have a love for this nation and a love for Israel, that it's so important for us to understand something of the suffering the Jewish people went through. If you really want to have a relationship with this land, and you have a God-given love for it, you have to understand some of what these people went through in their lives.
Well, you set aside other work, started concentrating on helping these Holocaust survivors. I remember there was an adoption program where Christians from abroad could support every month some survivor home visits, helping pay their utility bills and such. But then comes the opportunity of the Haifa home. And how has this assisted living home exclusively for needy Holocaust survivors, how has it met this need like no other method?
It has met, I think, different needs. First of all, it gives a home a real home to people that some people, I must tell you, were on the streets. Not everyone, but some, or they were about to
People with tattooed numbers from Auschwitz living on the street.
Yeah, or other kinds of Holocaust survivors that were just either about to be thrown out of their apartment because they couldn't pay the rent. And so it has given a home to these people. Another thing is that many people were, when I talk to them, you know, they say, we have received a new family. Because many of them are older. Some of them, you know, that live in Haifa, they might have children, but the children don't have a lot of time for them. This one lady has only one son, and her son is living abroad. She was all by herself. This home has given her a family,
A community to live in.
There are activities almost every day. You know, there is someone, they said that they wake up in the morning and they just open their door and there is a neighbor.
Yes.
And they can say good morning to them, and they feel that they're alive.
They have sort of a camaraderie with them because they all suffered, and I think there's a certain bond between them that they really appreciate.
There is a bond, you know, there's this one lady, she is from Poland, and she was 5 years during the years of the Holocaust, and so when after the war she and her sister survived, she ended up in an orphanage in Poland, where they had collected all the Jewish orphans that they found. And for her, somehow, that time was such a special time. So when she got older, she was just longing again for that time to be together with other people who can understand her, who have gone through the same suffering. And so that is also what this home gives them.
And they're fed every day. There's medical care, dental care. It's like total assisted living that elderly people have come to expect in an assisted living residential home.
You know, they have all their needs met. Of course, they have 3 meals a day and much more than that. Medical care is partly provided there, but also we have to understand that Israel has also a medical care system. So, but people who need medical care get it. There used to be a dental clinic. I must tell you, we are trying to raise funds again to revive it, because it's still a home that doesn't get any money from the government yet. And
it's all private funding.
It's all private funding. And you know, there's always things needed, but I think, David, what is so special about this place too, everyone wants to bless these people, to give them love, but also dignity, so that they can live out their years in dignity and with a kind of smile on their face.
You've probably gotten very attached to some of these survivors over the years. I understand there's around 80 residents of the home.
You know, David, I think I became very attached to them, because I often say, you know, the way we want to work, we don't just want to channel money there and have once in a while a huge opening of something. We as Christians want to be part of the lives of these people. And we want to show that the love that God has given us for these Holocaust survivors and for all the people in Israel. And I often say, the involvement that we have there as Christians, I think has even, and I want to say it very carefully, given some healing to some people. Because from time to time we have also Christian groups. I always feel it has to work 2 ways. If Christian groups come, or donors, I want them to learn about these Holocaust survivors. And for the survivors, it's been such a blessing to be able to tell these stories. Some, till today, cannot tell anything about the trauma they went through, but others, they cannot stop talking.
Yes.
And it brings healing to their soul. And we have such a wonderful open door and opportunity to help them. And you know, David, it's urgent, because it's only a few more years, and that's it, and they are not with us anymore. So I really, really hope we can do a lot more and even take in many more people that we are able to bless.
Yes, it's true. We only have a few more years left to write the testimony of Jesus in these lives. And we want to urge you to become partner with us in helping these very deserving Holocaust survivors live out their lives with dignity. We ask you to support the Haifa Home for Holocaust Survivors run by the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
אני עמדתי ליד אמא שלי, מחזיק את היד. אמא התכופפה עליי, לי ביידיש קוראים מוטל. היא אומרת לי, מוטל, תנסה לברוח, שתוכל לספר מה היה פה. אני לא חשבתי הרבה, יצאתי מהשורה וברחתי לתוך היער. לא יודע מה זה להגיד אמא מגיל 9. וגם לא קיבלתי חיבוק של אמא שכל ילד מקבל. אלה הרסו לנו את הילדות. עשקו את הילדות. לא צעצוע היה לך, לא איזה משחק, לא משהו שילד, כל ילד בעולם, זה דבר מינימלי. לא היה לנו את זה, לא. אתם יודעים שהמלחמה לא נמשכה, לא חודש, חודשיים או שנה ושנתיים, נמשכה איזה 5 שנים. וכל פעם, כל יום אתה צריך להילחם על החיים שלך.
Because of the Holocaust, many kids like Mordecai were left orphaned. They survived, but now where do they go?
אנחנו באירופה נדדנו בכל מיני ארצות. בגרמניה, פולין, צרפת. בסוף באנו לצרפת, העלו אותנו לאונייה, תיאודור הרצל, ובאנו לחיפה. בחיפה האנגלים לא נתנו לרדת, לקחו אותנו לקפריסין. בקפריסין היינו 8 חודשים, ומעלת הנוער הוציאו אותנו, הביאו אותנו לכל מיני קיבוצים, פיזרו אותה, כי אנחנו כולנו יתומים, אין הורים, אין איפה להיות, לקחו לקיבוצים. בקיבוץ עבדתי על טרקטורים. עכשיו אני רוצה להגיד לך ככה, אנחנו בנינו והקמנו משפחות. הקמנו משפחה, למשל לנו, אני ואסתי, יש לנו 3 ילדים, 6 נכדים, שיהיו בריאים, והם חונכו לשרת את המדינה. צריך לשרת את המדינה.
Mordecai fought in the War of Independence and became a contractor for the army while his wife Esti studied and became a nurse. They both served the people of their new nation.
אחרי זה עבדתי בכל מיני עבודות עם הטרקטור. איפה שהיו מלחמות, שם צריך ציוד. ועבדתי בכבישים. אם אני אומר שאני בניתי, זה לא פרזה, זה אני בניתי, למה הענף הזה היה לבנייה. לתשתיות. זאת אומרת, אני למעשה עבדתי כל הזמן בפיתוח המדינה, בבניית המדינה.
For many Holocaust survivors in the latter part of their years, it's becoming difficult to live on their own. That's where the ICEJ Home for Holocaust Survivors comes in. The staff take care of their needs and a nurse is on call to make sure they stay healthy.
אנחנו לעת זקנה, קשה לנו לתפקד בבית, לי יש בית, יש הכל. וזה ארגון בעזרת השגרירות הנוצרית, שאני יודע שהם תומכים בנו, ותומכים יפה, ואנחנו חיים על רמה.
The survivors go on outings around Israel and enjoy a wide variety of activities. They celebrate major events they missed while struggling to survive the Holocaust. The chief rabbi of Israel even performed a special bar mitzvah at the Western Wall. Mordecai and the other 70 Holocaust survivors at the Haifa home are cared for on a daily basis because of partners like you. We cannot maintain this home without your financial support. So go to icej.org/Haifa and partner with us today. In 1980, the Israeli parliament passed a law declaring a united Jerusalem as the eternal capital of the State of Israel. Threatened by the Arab League with an oil embargo, national embassies in Jerusalem closed their doors. That same year, Christians from around the world gathered in Jerusalem to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. Sensing the isolation of the Israeli people, the participants and leaders of this gathering decided to establish the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem.
The International Christian Embassy Jerusalem is since more than 30 years right here in Jerusalem to connect the global church with the nation of Israel. For many Jewish people throughout the centuries, the only face of Christianity what they experienced was the ugly face of anti-Semitism, of Christians persecuting the Jewish people wherever they found them. As Christian Embassy, we are here in Israel to show a new face of the church, a new face of Jesus Christ to the Jewish people.
The mission of the International Christian Embassy Jerusalem is fourfold: to educate the global church about Israel through events, television programs, and print publications, to promote Christian celebration in Israel and around the world through the annual Feast of Tabernacles celebration, to mobilize the worldwide body of Christ in prayer for Israel, influencing global leaders and ICEJ representatives in over 80 nations, and to show compassion to the people of Israel through social projects that are changing lives in every sector of Israeli society. To learn more about the ICEJ and how you can partner with us, visit icej.org.